Picture this. The year is 2003. You sit down at your home computer, ready to open up some work on Microsoft Office, or if you're lucky, play some Space Cadet pinball. Logging in, you're greeted with this image. After a few seconds, you begin to lose yourself in the rolling hills you see before you, captivated by the serenity and peace of what is now one of history's most viewed photographs. Bliss needs no introduction as the best-known Windows wallpaper. Its inclusion as Windows XP's default background image was timed perfectly with the mass adoption of PCs into millions of homes across the world. Bliss and its counterparts have become mainstays of not only internet, but pop culture, working their way into the subconscious of just about every person who has used a computer in the last 25 years. Today, I'd like to explore the wonderful nostalgia of Windows XP's wallpapers and talk about some of my favourites. Autumn, Follow, Home, Ascent, Stonehenge, Red Moon Desert, Wind, Azul. If you were around in the early 2000s, there's an extremely large chance that one of these iconic images was a part of your daily life. Viewing them now, 25 years after the debut of Windows XP, they may seem like relics of a bygone age. Dig a little deeper though, and look at them again at face value, you'll discover that these photographs are masterclasses in composition, framing, and lighting. XP's design manager and product design lead, Rob Gerling and Jen Shetterly, were involved in the selection of these famous images. A team at Microsoft had found through market research that most users preferred landscape shots as their desktop background, leading to the decision to select and license images from Bill Gates' stock photography company, Corbis. Corbis in itself is an interesting rabbit hole, as it was originally founded in 1989 with the intent of digitizing and licensing famous artwork and historical images for use in digital frames, and at the time undeveloped technology and concept which didn't catch on until many years later. In 1997, after amassing a vast collection of images, the company pivoted to the licensing of their collection, rather than trying to develop their digital frame concept further. Corbis bought out rival stock image company Westlight in 1998, and with it came photographs by professional photographer Charles O'Rea. One of these images, available through the Corbis Westlight Creative Freedom CD-ROM, was O'Rea's photograph, Bucolic Green Hills, better known as Bliss, along with an alternative shot taken at the same time, in 1996. Microsoft contacted Charles O'Rea through Corbis in order to purchase the photo, securing full rights to the image rather than simply licensing it. O'Rea hand-delivered the film and paperwork to Microsoft due to its high value, as it was considered out of the scope of any delivery firm's insurance. This image for me is nostalgia in its purest form. The sheer simplicity of the work is its genius, leaving the viewer to attach their own meaning and interpretation. The gentle sloping hill, verdant. The perfect fluffy clouds set in the subtly gradated blue sky. The distant mountains, beckoning the viewer towards them. The subject matter is truly universal. Pretty much anyone who picked up a copy of the operating system had seen a hill like this on a sunny day sometime in their lives, and could easily imagine the scene taking place in their immediate vicinity. In fact, for many years, the true origin of the image remained unknown to the general public, and users speculated many possible locations, including England, Switzerland, and New Zealand. Matters were complicated further by the image being renamed Ireland in the Dutch version of XP and Alentejo in the Portuguese version. In reality, the image was taken here, in Sonoma County, California. A rescan of the image from 2016 shows extra details, including mountains, visible on the left-hand side. For many, this image is Windows XP. It paired perfectly with the Lunar theme and tied together the visual identity of a freshly installed copy of the operating system perfectly. I explored this topic more thoroughly in my Frutiger Aero video, but technology in the pre-social media age was more widely perceived as a tool to allow humanity to solve its greatest challenges, and I think the quiet peace of Bliss perfectly sums up this idealistic optimism. Almost unbelievably, Oriya is responsible for another of XP's iconic desktop images, Red Moon Desert. This image was captured a few years after Bliss, at a time when Westlight had been newly acquired by Corbis. Charles Oriya was sent on international trips to various wine regions, and while visiting South Africa, he took this now iconic shot at the Kalahari Gemsbok National Park. Unlike Bliss, however, Red Moon Desert was royalty-free and was simply licensed for use by Microsoft rather than purchased. I like to think of this image as a perfect counter to the vibrant green of Bliss, more introspective and evocative of a peaceful evening rather than an idealistically perfect day. I've always had the impression, for some reason, that this wallpaper was aimed at the older user, perhaps a professional or someone who took their time spent on the computer a little more seriously. Its composition makes the image highly inviting, the lines on the sand drawing the eye toward the horizon and focal point of the image. The moon hangs perfectly above the red sand, providing important earthly context to an almost Martian landscape. Like all of the XP wallpapers, it's inviting and friendly, yet it contains mystery and intrigue. Autumn is another wallpaper with a fascinating story. Again, one of the more popular XP wallpapers, I've always been captivated by this one since I was a child, and it seems others have too. Journalist Nick Tosches went on a quest to find the original location of Autumn back in 2007, which saw him face many roadblocks. As it transpired, Microsoft were unwilling to divulge the name of the photographer or the location to Tosches, with him having to use connections at Vanity Fair to even find out who took the shot. After he had tracked him down, the original photographer, Pete Burian, didn't even remember the exact location, although he joined Tosches in his search for Autumn, and eventually, through contacting a local historical society, the two pinpointed the exact farm track where the shot was taken, in Burlington, Ontario. I distinctly remember being captivated by Autumn as a child. It's an image with very clear and definite qualities, but it holds so many mysteries. When viewed on an old CRT monitor, the details of the structure at the end of the track were difficult to pick out, and I remember my mind filling in the blanks of what could be waiting for me at the end of the road. Again, it's a pretty universal image and features the same vibrant colours as Oriya's photography. It captures the beauty of the season perfectly and allows the user to temporarily bask in the atmosphere of a fall day in Canada. I'm certainly not alone in my love for this image, as a crowdfunding event took place in 2022 in order to purchase and make available the original high-quality version of Autumn, allowing us for the first time to take a proper look at the image in its full glory. Follow stands in contrast to the other wallpapers we've discussed, as it is much more obviously a digital composite, meaning that it has manipulated elements. The same orange fish is copied and pasted to make up the school of fish following their striped leader. Follow is interesting to me as it sort of marks the boundary between the Y2K aesthetic and Frutiger Aero aesthetic. Maybe I'm just projecting that onto the image, as I've spent a lot of time researching and writing about Frutiger Aero for the channel. But it feels like its inclusion with XP was hinting at the sort of aesthetic that was to come in the following years, symbolic of our continued desire for technology and nature to work hand in hand. Included with Windows XP Media Center Edition in 2005 was Energy Bliss, an updated version of the original, which is most definitely fruitiger era. So this aesthetic was certainly emerging during XP's tenure. The images used to create Follow were taken by Warren Morgan, and the wallpaper, again, came from the Creative Freedom CD-ROM. Azul, again an aquatic wallpaper, invites the user to a serene tropical island with a yacht drifting by, and was taken by Bill Ross in 1991 while on a trip to the Cook Islands, during which he was specifically looking to take tropical stock photos. The intriguing nature of this image is again in its simplicity, something that unifies XP's catalogue of backgrounds. The limitless horizon perhaps suggests the feeling of endless possibilities that came with having access to the internet at that time. The yacht, your vessel for exploring the world of computing. Where is it going? Who is on board? It's easy to imagine yourself on this boat, journeying across a vast ocean of information from the comfort of your home. The use of natural settings such as this one, I think, made the operating system seem more friendly, less of a boring tool for creating spreadsheets, and more of something that could be incorporated into a lifestyle. I'd go as far as to say these backgrounds allowed computers to blend more with the artwork and furniture in the home. Ironically enough, echoing what Corbis was trying to do with their digital frame concept. Perhaps during the course of this video, I've been a little sentimental about the images I've talked about. After all, they're just stock photographs which were included in an operating system 25 years ago, right? These sort of small details in the grand scheme of life, however, are what make up our fondest memories. Maybe you associate seeing these wallpapers with time spent with parents or siblings, exploring the internet for the first time. Maybe you remember a grandparent who would always play solitaire with one of these wallpapers in the background. Or perhaps you recall rushing home from school to jump on MSN, hoping for a message from your crush to pop up over the green hills of Bliss. As a concept, the family computer, sitting there in the corner, is mostly gone. Everyone has the ability to do more with the smartphone in their pocket on unlimited wireless internet than they ever did with a beige PC tower and a copy of Windows XP. The routine and ritual of sitting down to check emails, post on forums, and catch up on news, for better or worse, is gone. Those things now come at us 24/7 through our phones. Back then, however, the people who designed Windows and selected these images understood that we only had limited time with the computer each day, and strived to make the experience enjoyable and special for the user, picking photos that would bring a smile to our faces when we booted up our machines. As well as being an enormous commercial success, XP was one of the first operating systems to really think about visually pleasing the user, and these wallpapers were a massive part of that. Nostalgia for a time before the average person was expected to be contactable all day, every day, is something experienced by many people, and these wallpapers are massively symbolic of that age. To return to a simpler time, to live again in those days before social media, that's what these images mean to me, and perhaps they mean that to you. This video wouldn't have been possible without the amazing resource, Windows Wallpaper Wiki, which has researched and compiled all available information on the images I've talked about today. Go check it out if you're interested in learning more on these backgrounds. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and a comment telling me your experience and memories of XP and its now famous wallpapers. If you're feeling extra generous, you could even hit subscribe and check out my other videos. There's a nice variety of topics on the channel for you to peruse. I know I certainly have enjoyed researching and creating this video.